And we are going live now. All right. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to another Sunday evening with B and T Sports Talk. I am T, and the man to my right, I believe it's the right. Yeah, there you go.
I'm over here. Over here.
Is B. So thank you everybody for joining in. If this is your first time, feel free to check out some of our previous videos and give us a shout out in the chat. As always, we stay very interactive with the chat. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. We appreciate it all. So, hey man, interesting week this week. B,
Yo,
how how
that
how,
shit was.
how you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm feeling good outside of this little allergy issue I'm having right now.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I would say the week of sports really delivered for us this week, man. We got a good. We got some good NFL, some dumbasses in the major leagues, and the NBA striking again here. But how was your weekend?
Oh man, it's been good, man. Just hanging out, trying to get my kids ready for school on Monday. So it's just been a lot of spending a lot of money on stuff. Clothes, shoes,
It's
stuff
stuff
for the
that's gonna get
kids.
thrown away later.
In about 6 to 8 months, yeah, I won't
That's
be
the
able to wear
worst
it
part,
anymore.
man.
Yeah, it's the joy of being a parent. But
Yes, sir.
but yeah, man. So I mean, you mentioned it. A lot of stuff's been going on, especially with the NFL kicking off. Preseason's up and running. Haven't really seen any real starters. Mostly it's been backups, but there has been a guy who we anticipate to start for all of the season, if not a majority of the season, and that's the 49ers' new starting quarterback, Trey Lance. So I don't know if you saw B, but Trey Lance was out there having himself a good time. Threw a big touchdown throw. I think he finished with about four or five passing. He didn't play, that long, but did have some moments that looked like they could be promising. What do you think? Trey Lance, is he the man?
Bro, his the amount of NFL film he has is about the amount of time he's played college football. So I don't know. I mean, the deep ball he threw, that 74-yard touchdown
Yeah,
pass
I saw
was
that.
was nice and all, but I mean, we really can't. Everyone just needs to calm down. Like, come on, y'all. Just chill, man. It's against second stringers. Did he make the throw? Yes, he made the throw. I'm not taking him any short of that, but let's be realistically, watching that game on Friday night or just watching the highlights was pretty sloppy. So can't really go off of much there.
I mean,
I mean, one possession or a few possessions to start the game off with, and then that's it. It's just like you know, everybody just chill. Like
it's
he's not
yeah,
seeing Aaron
it's
Darnold come right through him.
it's a very small sample size for Trey Lance. And we were talking about this earlier and kind of the hype that comes along with being the 49er quarterback because of the big giant shadow of Joe Montana. Is he the next Jimmy G? I mean, I feel like we had this same discussion when Jimmy G first came aboard from the Patriots. And keep in mind, when Jimmy G was brought over to the 49ers, there was a lot of hoopla about how great he was going to be and this and that. And to his credit, he had a, on par, pretty stable stint with the 49ers. Now I'm assuming he won't be a 49er for long, but so far, he's had an okay stint with the Niners. But I think the hype is a little bit unwarranted, just like it was a little bit unwarranted with Jimmy Garoppolo in the beginning, where he received a very handsome contract after only starting
Oh
four
yeah,
four games. I think 4 or 5 games for the Patriots, and just because he came from the Patriot, pedigree of quarterback, which is only Tom Brady. By the way, folks, there is no other quarterback unless you want to go all the way back to Drew Bledsoe, which would not
that
count.
wasn't much. Yeah, that
So,
was not much of a
so
quarterback in that in
exactly.
that round.
So the Patriots are not some quarterback farm that are just handing out these great quarterbacks everywhere. They are not. And most of the backups that have been traded from there to other places have not done well outside of Belichick's system. So I think we're doing the same thing again. The guy had a good throw. I'll give that to him. But as you said, it's against second string cornerbacks, DBs. It's against second string, linemen and so on and so forth. I mean, we got to see this guy actually play a full regular season game before
Yep.
we can really figure out if he's really the hype. And to be honest, How good can he really be? I mean, you came from having Kaepernick, who went to a Super Bowl. You went to Jimmy Garoppolo, who also went to a Super Bowl. Do you really think Trey Lance can take the Niners to a Super Bowl?
No,
I mean, I don't
it's
know. Like, I feel like
here's
like
here's what I think Jimmy G the second needs to learn how to do, and that is game manage. The one thing that Jimmy G just doesn't get credit for was he managed the game.
right,
And as imperfect as a quarterback is, he's no one in this league is perfect. We all know that.
right,
His mistakes may come on a little more of a he may do a little more on the mistakes, but what people don't tend to see is the way he manages the game, though, and that also goes with Kyle Shanahan. Trey's going to have to learn how to manage the game. You do not have to hit a home run every single time. You don't have to be taken off with your feet every single time. A lot of the times, you see a lot of checkdowns. You see
yeah,
a lot of 5 yard passes. You let your athletes take care of that there for you. So a lot of those 5 yard passes turned into 10 to 15 yards. Not Jimmy.
Jimmy
Trey
too.
Trey Lance is gonna have to learn how to do that. There, he's gonna have to learn like you're not going to win at this deep ball every time, but you need to learn how to manage and then just obviously slow the game down, manage the game. No, hey, 1st and 10, why don't you go for 5 yards, shorten it up. So by the time third down comes around, you're looking at a third and manageable here. Um, I think the Niners play calling is going to open up more now that you have a mobile quarterback in Trey Lance here, but it's hard for first year quarterbacks as mobile as he's going to be really succeed in these kind of environments here. And it's not like the Niners schedule is actually pretty daunting here. So, he's got to see Aaron Donald twice. The offensive line for the Niners is still up in the air right now. So, he may not have a whole lot of time to be throwing that pigskin around when it comes to it here. So
Yeah.
he's going to have to learn to really manage this game as time goes on. But let's not let one 76-yard pass determine that he is going to be taking this team to the Super Bowl. This has got to unfold. It was a great pass. Again, not taking that away from him, but it's the checkdowns. It's the clock management. That 2-minute drill, I would have to say Jimmy G wasn't really that bad at it.
Yeah, he was. He had some game winning drives,
Yeah.
plays. I just think the 49ers have to be realistic and stick with the plan that they've always had, which is run the ball. That's it. I think, one thing that has held them back is the capability to make big plays from the quarterback position. And
Yeah.
that's really the only reason why Jimmy G is, chilling at Subway, eating his sandwich,
Yeah.
is because he had a couple of opportunities, especially he had one specifically in the Super Bowl where he overshot a wide receiver for a touchdown, and he hasn't been able to make that big play. And there are a lot of quarterbacks like that when the pressure is that high, they might not be able to get it done. And
Yeah.
I just feel like the 49ers brass, John Lynch, they're looking for someone who can give them that wow factor to create that extra touchdown that they need or play that they need to make in order to put them over the top. And the problem is I don't know if if Trey Lance is really going to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, honestly, they have to go in a different direction. But they didn't have a bad season last year. And I don't know if you can
No.
place all of the blame on Jimmy G and say it was his fault that they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think it was. And I'll agree that he doesn't make big plays. He's not Patrick Mahomes, and the Niners are going to go up against some really great quarterbacks that are going to make great plays and that are going to, that win games. The bottom line is if you don't have guys like that on your team, you're going to have to be a better than average defensive team and a team that can run the ball, which the Niners have shown they can do. So honestly, I just think they're really just trying to find one more level above Jimmy G. That's all they're looking for. I don't know if this guy's going to come in and start throwing 70, 80-yard bombs all of a sudden, especially given some of their wide receiver core. I mean, they have a great tight end in Kittle. You got Debo Samuels coming back. But, I just don't see it, B. I don't think it makes them any better than last year.
I don't I don't think so, but there could be that wow factor there. I
Yeah.
mean, it could happen. The defenses they're not going to see aren't. I mean, the only defense that really stands out on their schedule is the Rams, and that's 2 times. That's the only really big defense that really stands out. The Saints have always been a pretty solid defense here. The Seahawks, they're not the same Seahawk defense. The Broncos,
Eh,
it's hit or miss.
yeah.
The Cardinals, not out of it. The Raiders, wait to see. Washington is just terrible, so we're not even going to bring them into the discussion.
The
But
Washington
I think
football
I
team.
think the Buccaneers would probably be a solid defense
Yeah.
for them. But it'd be interesting to say the least. But I think right now, if there was anything he could learn from being Jimmy G's backup, is the game management part, time management,
Yeah.
and all of that there. So,
Yeah.
I get it. The Niners unwrapped their new toy. Fans are excited about it, but one pass doesn't win a Super Bowl. It's a long, long season.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's move on to another quarterback who has been making headlines, well, most of last year and a portion of this year,
This
and
is a touchy
and
subject.
continues to make headlines. Deshaun Watson. So somehow Deshaun Watson started his first preseason game. Didn't look that great, to be honest. Looked a little rusty. He didn't play most of last year, so I think that's understandable. But I think the real conversation is, how the hell this guy end up playing and starting a preseason game? Was he supposed to be suspended for the entire season?
Yeah, that's does the preseason not count
Yeah,
for the games?
I guess not.
I mean, apparently not. The Browns said, "Hey, why don't you go out there and start in preseason week 1?" The NFL's got to get this locked up and get it together here because this is looking terrible. Not only did he start, but now he's going to end up back in court because the NFL is going after the people who allowed the suspension. Man, I'm blanking on a lot of people's names
That's
here,
all right.
but
Yeah, they
it's
trying to appeal the damn thing. Yeah.
yeah, they're trying to appeal what happened to Deshaun Watson here, and that just looks terrible because now you're still allowing a guy to play when he sat out all of last year as well. The thing is in my eyes, you should not see the field until you've done your time or unless the dust is settled.
Exactly.
Right now, this shit ain't settled yet. So why are you playing any sort of football? I believe he could practice. I believe he should be a part of the team workouts and everything like that. But as far as starting goes and playing in a game, that should not be happening right now.
Yeah.
So
Dude, and how does the NFL not reach out to the Browns and say, "Hey, look, don't put him on the field because it's bad. It's bad publicity for us as a league. Don't put him on the field until all this is figured out, because it does look bad." The NFL has had a very lengthy, like very lengthy kind of with reputation for not attacking these things and right away and taking care of them. The same
yep.
thing with the the brain trauma thing that we had 5-6 years ago. The same thing with taking care of players that were in retirement. Remember that whole when that whole
Mm-hmm.
situation went down. And then again, whenever we had all of these different abuse scandals with various different NFL players against women, and just the whole idea of domestic violence and how that swirled up a lot of dust. So now you have another player who's done something, who's committed assault against women, and the NFL is very timid about it, and it really does kind of over time send a message. They do. I mean, the NFL does a lot of marketing. We do, breast cancer awareness. We're wearing pink ribbons, and that's well and good, as well as other leagues do the same thing. But what are you doing whenever your players are sexually assaulting and beating women? They tend to stand back and wait, and just kind of wait
Yeah.
to see what happens. They don't really make an effort. In my opinion, the NFL should step forward and say, look, we're going to suspend you for the remainder of the season. And if they're not going, and if they're going to wait till the court case is done, that's fine. But under no circumstances should he be in the public eye or in a uniform on the field, because he represents the league. He shouldn't be out there playing.
Yeah, he represents the Browns, the city of Cleveland, the shield that the NFL is so
I know,
sought
right?
out
Yeah, Right.
respectful for. So it's stuff like that he's looking to really ruin here. In my eyes, he needs to be suspended for at least, I would say, almost 3 quarters of this season here. When you really look at it, you can't let this sit by. Calvin Ridley is suspended for a good amount of time for betting on 2 games. On a 2-game bet got him a full year. Yet Deshaun Watson, touched women inappropriately, 24 women,
Yes.
and is getting 6 games.
Right.
Where's the balance in that? And I'm not trying to compare, but what you're doing here is saying, hey man, you settled 23 out of 24 assault cases. Go ahead and play.
Right.
That's what you're telling. That's what you're telling him. That's what you're telling the league. The NFL just needs to become more stern. The league that does handles these kind of situations the best is the NBA.
Right.
NBA don't mess around with nothing.
Yeah.
You're either kicked out or you're suspended for a very long time,
Right.
and they have that. They have all of that correct. The NFL, man, do they, like you said, they sit back and they go, oh, let's wait till it goes to court. It's almost like they play Russian roulette with the number of suspension games, and
Yeah.
or the shortest straw. Shortest straw,
Short
that's
straw.
what you
Right.
get. 6 games. Hey man, go do your time. Like the suspension does not fit what he has done. He
Right.
should not be seeing a field. He should not be doing interviews. He shouldn't be doing anything until this is settled
Right.
and the dust is clear. Right now, the cloud's getting darker because you're allowing this man to play.
Exactly. And it's so funny because they've been through it so many times already. You would think by now they would have figured this damn thing out. And so it's just weird to see, man, and it really puts a black stain on the NFL that they've had for a number of years now when it comes to domestic abuse and assault when it comes to women. So they really gotta, I mean, they have to find a way to really, like you said, be stern, put your foot down, something. We were talking about this before the show, right? I mean, Deshaun Watson should get at least a half for each woman that he assaulted. What was that, 24?
Oh, 24 women.
Yeah, 24 hat. What is that, 12 games? I mean,
Yep.
something, because it's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's not okay. And he was
No.
doing it on company dollar. And it's not something that any of us in the normal world can get away with. So it really is something that NFL needs to button up and just drop the hammer, man, and be done with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And if he goes to court and they say he didn't do any of it, then he can go back and appeal. That's great. But in the meantime, you have to take a stance up front so that you can protect your league and send a message that says, yeah, we do care about how the league looks. We do care about women. Our players shouldn't be treating women this way, and we need to be better. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just stand back and be like, well, he only slapped 5 girls. It's okay. Let's stand back and wait and see what you like. No, like, come on. So it's pitiful, man. They gotta figure it out.
They need to do a lot better on this suspension here. I'm with you 100%. I really can't argue on this one here because it's like, come on, like really, Taj, if it was you and I
We going to
going to
jail,
20,
man.
we're never seeing the light of day.
No,
We're not having this podcast, sir.
nah, man.
We get massages from big dudes in the jail cell. This ain't happening for us, man. They need to stop putting athletes above the regular human
I'm
beings,
gonna
man.
start taking Barry Bonds PD so I could protect myself in prison.
Right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. Anyway, well, moving on. And also, the brand, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're going to kind of switch paths, kind of back to the 49ers story about Jimmy Garoppolo. So there's been some rumors about him being connected with the Browns, since we're talking about the Browns with Deshaun Watson. But based on this appeal, hell, they might not even need him. Deshaun might start the first 5 games of the season before they figure any of this out, knowing the NFL, and maybe Jimmy G is just stuck being a 49er backup.
The worst thing is he's not even on the roster as their backup.
Oh my, yeah.
There's two other backups ahead of Jimmy there, so he's not even on the list as far as even like getting on the field. But the best thing is like he's working out on Niner facility getting his arm back
It's the
together.
strangest thing, man.
It's the weirdest thing. Like he's still wearing Niner gear. You know, it's like, dude, you're not part of this team. You know, it's like that guy who gets cut multiple times. They keep telling him to leave, but they can't get rid of him, and he
Yeah,
keeps coming
it's
back.
like the guy. Remember Office Space? You see Office
Oh,
Space with the dude that was in the basement.
dude's been fired for
If I
like 10 years, and he's still showing
still
up. He's not
working,
even collecting a paycheck, right?
right?
Ends up burning the bitch down.
Yeah,
So I mean,
right.
who knows what's gonna happen with that? But I think what the Browns really need to look forward to is finding that Deshaun Watson replacement, regardless if it's 6 games or if it's going to be, the season. I think Jimmy G would be a really good fit in that department there, because the Browns team isn't that bad.
No.
There's a few weapons here. They still have Nick Chubb, but as far as a guy to manage and control the season until you get your quote unquote starter back, I think Jimmy G would be the perfect man for that position there.
Yeah, no, I think he would. I mean, we talked about game management and him being a solid game manager. I mean, quite honestly, the Browns are what at best a 9-8 team. They're not going to be otherworldly even if they do get Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson is rusty. He hasn't played in almost an entire a calendar year, darn near. So
I know.
I don't know if the first 4 or 5 games is just getting the guy's feet wet and getting him back out there. And we're not even talking about the looming cloud over this guy that could yank him off the field at any moment. So I don't know. It's just a weird situation. Whenever there's no consistency in a team like that, and this guy's supposed to be your leader, it's not gonna go well.
No.
They really got to figure out what they want to do. Either bench the guy until it's figured out, wait till next season and start then, get another backup and do the best you can. And don't get me wrong, I'm plenty sure a lot of Myles Garrett and whoever else on the Browns, some of those players are going to be like, hey, I want out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of the situation, they're going to be like, nah, I'm not going to wait around for Deshaun Watson to kind of play one day and might get suspended next week, or play the first 2 games of the season and then find out he's suspended for the rest of the season. Whatever. It's just a waste of a year for the good players that you do have. So yeah. It's a dumpster fire, dude. For real.
Well,
for real dumpster.
you don't
fire.
want to make Myles Garrett mad, because he won't take your helmet off and hit you over the head with it.
You got that right.
Just ask homeboy from the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple years ago who got smashed on, man. That was terrible.
Man,
but the Browns got to figure this out quickly, because you don't know when that suspension can happen.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of stuck out there without a quarterback. Me personally, if just to see things get out of control, it'd be awesome to watch Jimmy G go to Seattle, beat the Niners twice in a Seattle uniform.
My God. He's out there throwing 90-yard bombs to Metcalf like it's nothing.
Oh my God,
Jimmy G.
Metcalf's dangerous in the within that 5 to 10 yards. He's a dangerous wide receiver in that.
He's the closest thing to Terrell Owens I've seen in a while.
But with a better attitude. 100%
well, yeah,
better attitude.
I guess you're right. But this that size, that athleticism with that build, I mean, you don't see that too often. And that's what Metcalf is. He's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, he's got the power. He just needs the ball in his hand. That's it.
But let's also talk another destination for Jimmy G. And that's, another terrible team who's not really projected to do well, but that's the New York Jets, who just lost Zach Wilson for right now. It's only 2 to 4 weeks with a bone bruise and a torn meniscus, pending results on Monday.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's not looking too good for the Jets here, because they got a really good quarterback in my eyes. Zach Wilson, I think, is going to have a breakout. He was supposed to have a breakout season until this knee injury, but the weapons they have. But here's the kicker, though. The coach of the Jets is a 49ers ex-coach there who loves Jimmy G.
Oh, okay.
So, let me ask you this. As if you were a Jets fan, I'm going to put you in the position here. Would you, I know, sorry to make your life terrible there.
That shit hurt.
But let me ask you this. Would you take your current backup, which is Joe Flacco, or would you take Jimmy G? I'll leave you to answer that one.
I mean, it's like aged crap or new crap. That's what you're handing me right now.
Damn.
So, I mean, I could take Jimmy Flacco, but I kind of know what Flacco can do. Flacco's got a big arm. He's a big guy. but he can't move in the pocket. He's a statue, and he's not a really good game manager per se. You know, he's a guy that kind of is looking for the looking further down the field, and because he does that and doesn't have any athleticism, he ends up on his ass more often than not. I probably have to go with Jimmy G just because it's more of not I won't say an unknown, but I think Jimmy's track record um, is a little bit better. Now, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, so I can't take that away from him. But I'll also say that I kind of know what Flacco can do. And so if I'm looking for something outside the box and I'm a Jets fan, I really want to see them maybe switch it up and see if we can add a little bit of new flavor to the mix. I might go with Jimmy G. However, if I'm thinking long term, like we're not going to be great anyway, what the hell does it matter? Then yeah, I'm going to throw Flacco out there because let's get the draft picks. Forget it. I mean, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what's the point of trying to win games if we know that Wilson's going to be our quarterback going forward, and we just have this little freak incident? I'm just going to be like, you know what? Forget it. Just roll the dice. Roll Flacco out there. We're going to have a rough season anyway, and let's just tank it out. You know, get Wilson some more reps once he's healthy, and go back to the drawing board and draft some some rookies and get them on the roster next year.
I honestly think Dave should maybe take a real hard push for Jimmy G here because I think Jamison Crowder, the wide receiver for the Jets. He's a really decent wide receiver there. The unfortunate, who's the running back though?
For the Jets, you got me looking up Jets
For the
roster. You're
Jets,
killing me right now.
I know. I'm sorry, man. Shit. If they had some known players on there, I don't think we have this problem here. But I guess we got to have this
I think you're
problem
answering
here.
some of your own question there.
I know, right?
Brees.
I
Hill.
would like to see Jimmy G get paired up with Solemn Sal. I can't even pronounce their coach's name. But that may be a really good fit for him there as well, is being with the Jets, just because of the fact that he's with an old 49er coach who's got a lot of high praise for him, and he could get into a system right away here.
Yeah.
But man, that Jets schedule to start the season off with, dude, that shit is daunting. Here's how it goes: you get the Ravens, you get the Brownies, the Bengals, AFC champs.
Yeah, okay.
You got the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Packers. Those are your first 6 games. That's a tough game there. So I mean, it's you got to think Zach Wilson's out at least up until the Pittsburgh Steelers game. Is it worth kind of sacrificing that, or do you want to kind of push for it and at least try to keep the ship within, maybe one game over 500 or even being at 500? Because I'm gonna tell you this: Joe Flacco ain't been the same since he took the hit from the dude on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
When he got concussed, he has not been the same since, and that's why Lamar Jackson took the job.
Man, he ain't been the same since he got that contract, man. $100 million that messed him up. He's done. Yeah, but I don't know Jimmy G. It sounds like he has to be traded. It's just a matter of what team wants him and what they're willing to give up. The Niners aren't going to get a lot in return for him, but at this point, having him walking around the facility like the high school janitor probably isn't helping either. So it's probably not doing much either.
This is very true as well. But bro, let's talk about your Raiders real quickly.
Oh man, we good.
But it's a former Raider.
Okay.
The Las Vegas ain't been good to the Raiders since they've been out there. I mean, obviously the whole Henry Ruggs situation.
Yeah, with the
but
thing. Yeah.
Here comes another it's an Raider now, but Marshawn Lynch got hit with a DUI, driving beyond the speed limit again. When the cops found him, his tire was off the wheel. He was on the curb. He could barely speak. They had to throw his ass out of the car. What's going on with your Raiders in Las Vegas here?
He'll definitely be on TV saying the same script he had from the Super Bowl, right? I'm just here so I don't get fined. I mean, I think this is it's a bad look, but he is an ex-player, so it's not that bad of a look since he's not on an active roster right now. But guys get in Vegas and stuff happens. I really think when you have that much money and if you're that drunk, just go get a taxi, go get an Uber, and just make it home, man. Like no matter what, just leave your car where it's at, get an Uber, and make it home. I never understood the idea of I'm gonna get in the car and drive when I can barely walk straight. Yeah, and not only that, but you don't have anybody with you that's smart enough to be like, hey man, you a millionaire, bro. Like all this is gonna do is cost you money. So why not pay the $30, or I know Ubers are high these days, $50 for an Uber, get your behind back to your hotel, sleep it off, wake up in the morning, and go on with your life. It's better than getting arrested. You damage your car, so you got to pay for that. Then you got to pay for lawyer fees. Then you got to pay for bail money. You're talking about $100,000 bill just for getting in your car and trying to drive to who knows where. So it's just kind of like, man, just forego all that, fork out the $50 and get home, man. It's stupid to me.
Dude, hire yourself a personal driver for the night. By all
Yeah,
means, like there's so many forms of ways of doing it outside of going out and taking matters into your own hands here. We're lucky no one else was hurt in all of this here.
right.
Um, but just seeing Marshawn Lynch get pulled out the way he did out of that car, it was just kind of, it was hard to see because it's just tough watching a guy like that with the personality he has. But dude, listen, if anyone hasn't watched the video, watch it. TMZ launched it out, and he could like barely get a word out of his mouth, and the cops are saying, "Hey man, step out of the car." He kept refusing to get out, and then all of a sudden it was came over. They pulled his ass right out that car with no mercy.
Yeah.
They had to put two handcuffs on him, for that there.
He's a
So
big dude, man.
yep,
He's not a little guy, and with the shit that's going on with police, and I mean, it's a bad idea. You know what I mean? Take care of yourself. Do the right thing so you don't put yourself in a position where you can either kill yourself, somebody, or get shot by the damn police. I mean, seriously. So
oh
it's
absolutely.
just not a good look. I hope he figures it out. I know the Raiders had a situation. I think it was like a year and a half ago where there was an accident where people, it was there where someone got killed. I forgot who the player was.
Henry
Henry
Ruggs.
Ruggs, that's right. Yeah, you just said it. Yeah, so it's just like guys have to be smarter. It's not just your life; it's all the people that are around you. Just
Yeah,
stop being stupid, man. You got all this damn money. Why the fuck are you gonna throw it away so you can
for
go
that.
120 miles an hour? Anyway,
Yep.
man. So let's transition in sports a little bit. We're gonna jump into the MLB, and somebody's been putting on the special cream. Damn. So
Yo, man.
somebody found a container of Barry Bonds old face cream, and just decide to slap it on themselves, and then when they got caught, had the nerve to make up an excuse. So tell me about Tatis and what the hell is
let's
going on?
let's talk about this here because man, this made me laugh when the story came out. And at first I was like, "Oh damn, PEDs is suspended 80 games." Right?
Yeah.
But the matter of the fact that the dude got caught taking PEDs because he had ringworms mind blows me, dude. It's like, dude, how do you that's your excuse for taking PEDs.
Yes.
Oh man, I had ringworms. I didn't know what I was taking. Full. There are cures for ringworms, and it's not a PED, you big dummy. Yo, that was the worst excuse I've ever
Oh
heard.
man.
This is what makes it so special. So, in hindsight, they made this trade for Juan Soto, and then they go play the Dodgers. The Dodgers go sweeping their asses. And then on top of that, it took them until they played the Giants to score runs, right? So there's all this scrutiny, and then they're like, "Oh, just wait till we get Fernando Tatis back. We're gonna be lighting this league up and whatnot." He can't even come back until the middle of next year. Like that's what makes this situation so much better. Is that they're like trying to be the Dodgers. They're trying to find ways to bring players. They want to win a championship so bad, but they have dumbasses who do stuff like this. This is one of them.
Yeah.
You're on the road to recovery. Why are you trying to speed it up? Never speed up an injury recovery here.
Right.
But at the same time, you're going to sit there and you're going to say, I did not know that had PEDs in it to cure ringworms. No doctor in his absolute right mind would have told you to take a PED to take a ringworm out.
It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid. I think, I just wonder, like, who are these guys talking to? Or maybe they don't have anybody to talk to. to kind of pull them aside and say, hey, don't do this, or hey, if you get caught doing it, don't say anything. Because I think it's
Who's consulting this
yeah,
is the bigger question.
I mean, it's better not to say anything at all, honestly, than to open your mouth and say something stupid because it just makes you look that much more guilty, you know. And if you were gonna take these things, why in the world, you know, why are you going through this knowing what the penalty is for Major League Baseball has had to go through this thing for quite some time now. We all know that when it comes to either gambling or PEDs, you're going to get the harshest penalty known to man if you're a baseball player.
Yeah.
So I would think at some point you got to avoid them. You know, like, I mean, somebody has to be in your ear saying, dude, look, just go through the normal route of recovery. You'll get there. It'll pay off. Just, it's going to be okay. And it's like with baseball, hell, you can be off a game or two. It's not going to be a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the mindset behind that. And it's like, I don't know. I guess you tell me, guy, you tell me, B, is you're more of a baseball guy. In basketball, the rush is to get back because you have a huge impact on your team because there aren't that many players. You impact the offensive side and you impact the defensive side of the ball. If you're a great star, you got to be on the floor. Contracts are guaranteed, but if you're not a great player, then not so much. You're going to get a 1 or 2 year deal. You got to try to get that next big contract. Tatis, on the other hand, I mean, when you're an established player and you're there in baseball, your career, I mean, your contract's established. So what is it about the format within MLB that's making these guys go, I have to get back in the game right now to the point where I'm going to go take PEDs to do that?
I mean, there's missing the game. He's been out of it for a while, and I get that 100%. But at the same time, every sport is the ultimate team sport. It's always about the team and whatnot, right? Well, baseball, you got 20 plus individuals on your damn roster, and then you have 4 different farm systems, so they can find someone to kind of just ride the ship out until you come back. And that's what San Diego was doing, was they were just getting by until they got their man back. That's the face of the organization right now. And now he's the PED of the organization. Like, it's just not adding up in his case there. And then again, there should be no rush. He's early 20-year-old, man. He's like 23. Like,
right.
Your body's going to heal. Your body's going to recover. You're just not going to give it the time to do it. And then now you want to take a PED. Dude, what are you doing taking PEDs at that age, man?
Yeah.
That just shows you more. Bonds never got caught. I'm gonna save that discussion for another end. I'm just gonna tell you, even that unknowingly cream that he took, he still never tested positive. So everyone out there, you can suck on that. Just ask Fernando Tatis. Dumbass didn't know he was taking something that had PEDs and got caught. Go figure.
Trying to say he was taking antibiotics, like we gonna believe
I swear to God.
I was taking penicillin. Fool, penicillin ain't no PED, man. Don't nobody prescribe that. So let's transition, man. Let's go from dumb to dumber. All right, we're gonna transition into the NBA, and the biggest story of this week. Well, actually, do you want to start with your boy, or you want to start with the lightweight?
Man, let's just get this out of the way now.
Let's get it out of the way. All right, so like I said, we're going from dumb to dumber. So, Kevin Durant. We've been going through the KD saga for the past month now, ever since NBA the offseason began.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of hoopla first around Kyrie and the extension for him not going through. Now Kevin Durant, who demanded a trade, has doubled down on the trade, and not only that, he's went out of his way to single out Steve Nash, and the GM, Sean Marks, for the Nets, saying that if he's coming back, then the ownership, Joe Tsai, needs to get rid of those 2 guys, and is really giving the Nets an ultimatum. You either get rid of those guys or you trade me, one or the other. So what's up with this, man? I mean, I'm all for the player empowerment, but what I'm not for is, now you're trying to straight Godfather the situation. He coming with the dead horse head in the bed right now. Like gangster, like, oh no, you gotta kill him and him, otherwise I'm out. And so I really don't like how this looks. It really puts a damper on, not a damper. it creates a very bad environment within the Nets organization. As if it wasn't bad enough, there's no way he can come back to that team after outing his coach and GM.
Oh,
There's no way. So, and to be honest, I think KD is doing this for leverage. I think he knows that. He knows he can't go in the training camp and play for the same coach after saying that Steve Nash needs to go. And reports are that they've run separate practices, just KD, with the team outside of practices that Steve Nash was running. So the whole thing has been built around the idea that Steve Nash is an inept coach that can't run a system, that can't get the players together, that can't manage big personalities, and he's only a first year coach. So I think it's unfair to Nash, but it's also really just it's really getting nasty right now, man. B, what's your take on it, man?
I think KD, those were, I mean, it's been, he said some stupid things along the way, but this may be the dumbest thing this man has ever said. He has zero leverage to be saying stuff like this, man. You really don't. You have not played a full season in a Brooklyn uniform, and you
Yeah,
haven't. And what have you delivered for Brooklyn? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You remember you weren't the focus of that. Kyrie wanted you here. Brooklyn didn't want you there. Kyrie wanted you there. And then your boy Kyrie now wants out. This has just got to be the dumbest thing that someone could ever ask for an organization. Steve Nash worked with KD previously when he was a special assistant for the Warriors, right? So you
mm-hmm.
can't sit there and throw that man under the bus when you've already worked with him before, and that was during your championship prime. So that excuse out there is terrible, and that is unfair to Steve Nash, who's really had no say in this. You know,
Yeah,
you can't blame him for these egotistical basketball players,
yeah,
especially
or the
with
fact that they
KD.
were injured.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't
who are
control
we
that.
blaming for injury? I mean, Kyrie was out at one point. Then KD was out. James Harden was trying to shoulder the load, and he said, "I'm out because I'm not just going to play by myself." Kyrie won't get vaccinated, so there's been this has just been the most dumbest thing ever. I don't know if I can blame Steve Nash for that, and quite honestly, if I'm the Nets, I mean, this signals the bell that they're not going to bring him in. Now, they could try to wait till the trade deadline, but in my opinion, I'm not bringing KD into camp
Oh,
because
it's
I need to
toxic.
I need to start over. I need to be done with this.
Yep.
Let me get the best return I can. Let me call up Boston and see what's happening with Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and some draft picks and see if I can just start this thing over it with ownership and general manager control. Because remember, Sean Marks didn't even know that KD signed with him until he announced it on Twitter or announced it through the media. So it's not like they were pursuing him. It was they just fell into their lap. And they were like, "Oh, this is great." But they need to be in control so that they can actually build some type of environment or some type of culture for the Brooklyn Nets. No, even if it's just young guys, who cares? If they had a nice little team already, if they could just build, they could have just built on that and kept it going. And as bad as everybody wants to win the championship, I think what we're starting to realize is these top heavy teams, they only got like 2-3 years to make it work. After that, the whole thing crumbles.
Yep. Absolutely. Here, I mean, my team was a clear example. Everything was good for a 5 year run, and then it crumbled under our feet for 3 years, and
Yeah,
now it's back. But that window is small. Championship windows don't come that often, and there's teams that don't realize that it's there, and they don't take advantage of it. Brooklyn knew it was there, and they're not building on it. Instead, it's crumbling underneath them before they could even build it. Right? They're trying to put this
yeah,
foundation down, and all of a sudden the cement goes up from underneath them, and it comes crashing down on them. And KD is the driving force of that. There, it's almost
yeah,
like everywhere he goes now is toxic. And I know I've got a love hate for KD just because of what he did is for his time with Golden State, but also the way he handled a lot of things. Now everything just is valid on how much of a dick you are. Like you can't be
right,
doing this to teams like that, man. Like I
yeah,
I could get the whole OKC situation because I mean let's be realistic. You weren't winning a championship in OKC. They didn't have the money to spend to be bringing other talent to come partner with you and Russell Westbrook. That shit wasn't happening. So then you go to a major market team like the Warriors, who already were established, and you go win a championship because you have better players around you. I would say that are better than you. And
Yeah.
then you go back to Brooklyn and you have one decent player, and that's Kyrie. But that's it. It's not like the organization wanted to build around that and say, "Hey, we got two really good quality players there. How do we build this? Now, how do we level this out to become a championship team?" They never did. And let's be honest, KD and Kyrie on the court together, that's not a championship team. That's a really good team, but they're not winning championships because the ball requires only two guys to handle it, and it takes the rest of the team out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I think it kind of also leads to the argument or question at least about, you know, we the players are running the league and they're dictating where they go. Is that really good for the overall game of basketball? And I think, in my opinion, it's kind of a yes and a no. I think the league benefits from having big name players in big markets. And for the most part, that's kind of what you've seen. LeBron to LA, Paul George and Kawhi to LA, even though that thing hasn't really come to fruition yet. But the better teams in the league, that we've seen have actually been teams where you have some homegrown talent and have been from smaller markets. I mean, we look at what Phoenix has done. I don't know how long that'll last, but it's a great story. It just doesn't make enough money. So I think the good of it is that the league benefits from having the big names in these East Coast and West Coast, these big cities. Well, except for the Knicks, who can't get a star to save their life. Um, but the bad side of it is you can sign a 4-year contract like KD, and then in the next year, within a year, say, you know what, I don't want to play here anymore. Or you could be James Harden, who's flip flopping all over the league, like Russell Westbrook, he's playing in 3 different teams in less than a year. And I think it does create a situation where it does make the league, it does make it a little hard to watch. I mean, I think the Harden thing was really dumb. I understand he didn't want to play in Houston. And no faults of Houston's, because Houston has taken every single player possible and tried to pair them with him to make it work.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. And so I understand he didn't want to play there anymore, but he didn't have to pout. And there was a lot of pouting and I'm not going to play. And it wasn't a great look. He went to the Nets. Okay, you went to the Nets. Great. Now you're there, make it work. And then in the next 6 months, no, less than that, not 6 months, not even. It was like, what, 2 months, 3 months? Then the guy said, you know what? I don't want to play there either. I'm going to go somewhere else. I want to go to Philadelphia. And just decides on a whim I want to be traded. And
Yeah.
then he ends up going to Philly. And it just doesn't look good. Guys aren't even playing out a full season. Like, they're not even giving it a chance. Literally, stars are giving up on their teams halfway through the season. And it just isn't a good look. I think it takes away from the commitment, not only to the contract,
Yes.
but also the commitment to the team. And
Absolutely.
if you don't have a commitment from the team and you don't have a commitment from the owners to the player, it really it makes it so that the product that's put on display is not worth watching. Nobody wanted to watch those James Harden Nets games. Sorry. And no, I would have much more been interested in watching James Harden play for the Houston Rockets and them trading Westbrook for something else. That team still had some good young talent.
It
You know what
did.
I mean? And so James just didn't want to stick around for that talent to mature. But even if you don't want to stick around for that talent to mature, dude, the next stop you're at, just stay there, man. And you know what's going to happen in the next bargaining agreement. Contracts are going to start saying things like, "Oh, there is a no trade for 12 months clause, or there's a no trade for this amount of time clause," because we're not, as a team, we're not going to commit to trading and giving away assets for you, and then you decide you want to get traded in 2 months.
Yeah. It's
We have
it's
to get some
terrible.
return on our investment.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine if these players stayed in their small markets for a certain amount of time and that money came in.
Right.
That would help eliminate a lot of the money problems that these small markets have. But let me bring this question up to you. Now that Kevin Durant has said things like this, does that help his free agency at all?
So it doesn't. What it does is it shrinks the market, because
Who wants to
one,
sign him now?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Well, one, time is passing. Okay. Most of most of the players and moves that are available have shrunk down to a very small group now. You know, in the beginning there were a lot more possibilities. In regarding, like, for instance, the Phoenix Sun saga, right? There was an opportunity for them to trade because you had the center for the Phoenix Suns available. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now, but you
DeAndre
know,
Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton. You had him, but after the Pacers made a contract offer because he was a restricted agent, the Suns had to match that offer. So
Yep.
now that that offer is matched, that deal's off the table. And so there are very few players that are left. I mean, you got to look at the Pacers, the Utah Jazz, and the Phoenix Sun. I mean, even the Gobert thing, that's off the table if you were the Nets. You know, as time keeps continuing, more and more of these players are going to drop off the board. And so that really makes it so that the Nets are really pushed into a corner to make trades with what's available. It doesn't lift the market for KD's a great player, so I think players are going to want him. It's just that what the Nets are going to be able to get in return for KD, that market is going to really shrink. And so the Nets are really going to be put in a really hard position where they may have to take KD into the season, even if he doesn't play a single game, at least up until the trade deadline.
Well, you
And
know
that
what's
way,
my thing is why are you going to want to bring somebody in who's never going to be happy on where he's at? You know,
yeah,
his longest stint is still with OKC.
yeah,
You know, but other than that, it was 3 years with the Warriors. It's only been 2 years with the Brooklyn Nets, and he's asking for, he asked for big time money. Well, you got the big time money, so you need to start delivering on that big time contract, and you're not. Um,
right,
why would I want to bring somebody like that into my organization where, like you said, I'm going to spend all this money on one player, hoping to win a championship, but you're not getting a commitment from that one player. Everything KD's doing right now tells me one thing: you are not committed to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has got to be put in a spot where it's like, well, we can't take you into our camp no more. With
right,
the if I was a teammate um, on there and I
yeah,
heard this news, I'd be pissed off right about now. This is not
yeah,
what you need. You could be the greatest player in the world, but right now you're what you're demanding for this team, you're speaking on the other teams. You're speaking on your other teammates' behalf. You're telling them, hey, we want our coach fired. You may be the only problem with him. No one else. That's not
right.
fair to your other teammates as well. So he's putting a really a big black eye on his reputation. It's going to start taking away from him being one of the greatest mid-range scorers the game's ever seen. And now it's like this is more like the guy who can't stay committed and has all
Yeah.
this talent.
Yeah, it's definitely tarnished. I mean, he did win some championships on a team that already had the formula, and just put them over the top. But as a player, and we're talking about leading teams to the playoffs, leading teams to the finals, he had an opportunity to do that in OKC, and I think that was his best bet, in my opinion. I think him being in OKC and staying in OKC would have been better for his career. We have much more respect for guys that are going to stick it out for the long haul, even if they don't win the championships. Or if you're Patrick Ewing, or, even there's a multitude of players that played in the Jordan era that didn't get a chance to win a championship. You know what I mean? But if you're there to kind of stick it out, and maybe you have one other place that you go to and try to win a championship there, people can deal with that. But two or three locations, where you're bouncing around, where this is going to be your fourth team. I don't know, man. I think his reputation's already tarnished.
Yeah.
I think it's already a done deal. He's not as good as LeBron, no matter what you say. He's not as good as Curry, no matter what you say. Now, on paper and his skill set, yeah, I think he's as talented as those players are. But when we take a step away from his career, we're going to look back and go, damn, KD could have been like the best player ever, but he just ended up being so.
He ended up being a dick.
Oh man. Well,
But let's talk about some good news here. The NBA is already getting people hyped up for the season, and it's August. We got some time. We get to show off our new rings against your retirement team.
well, we don't even know who my team's gonna be.
Well, I mean
So
that's true too.
let's start there. I mean, we might come in, and I might be excited about this game, But I gotta tell you, if Russell Westbrook is anywhere around the building, then I am not even remotely interested. Let's just be clear. As a Laker fan, there's no way they're gonna run Russell Westbrook's ass out there with the team that they have right now and be in contention. It's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I don't care who the Darvin Ham wants to run the offense through AD, and good luck with that. But they haven't added enough shooting to their roster for me to be convinced that this group is going to be competitive. So if they roll that team out there as is, that's not entertaining for me. They either need to make a trade for Kyrie, or they need to go get Buddy Hield and what's the guys? The guys, why I can't remember people's names anymore. Well, the center with the Pacers. You know, they need to go out and Miles Turner. Thank you. They need to go out and go get those guys, make a trade for those guys, and put them along with Bron and AD. Then I'll be excited. But if they're just gonna roll these guys out with, Dame we haven't really picked up anybody, in my opinion, that has filled the void of being able to hit an open jumper. And if we're relying on Russell Westbrook to sort of be this 3-and-D type player, it ain't going to happen. He doesn't play off the ball. He's not going to be 3-and-D. His defense has never been that great. So I don't see it, man.
Let's get away from talking about that roster because it's a terrible roster. Let's just talk about the fact that it's ring night for my team here. Another ring to add, another banner to add. Now, granted, it ain't 17 banners. It's not 17. Yeah. I get all that there. But it's another one that goes in the rafters regardless.
Yeah,
we're third all time. We're third all time in that.
Yeah, third all. Wow. Okay. With how many?
7. Leave us alone.
Wow.
I'm just saying. But it's a nice ring. We're 10 away. No, we're 10 away.
Dude, it's gonna be a 10-minute segment with them showing how the ring opens up and it starts singing some song. You know, a ballerina inside pops out and twirls around like a music box. Just like they do segment every year. How the ring has gotten bigger. It's got more diamonds in it. Steph Curry's daughter is etched on the inside, sitting in the actual seat she was during the final. You know, it's ridiculous.
I don't know who's making these rings, but they really need to stop with the whole taking the top off the ring here. Like,
dude, that's the way to go. Did you see the Rams one? They take it off and it's the actual stadium with. I mean, come on, man.
Just keep it simple. Just put a ton of diamonds in there. Throw the team logo on there. Put the team mantra in there, whatever the case may be. But I'm tired of seeing the damn top of the ring come off, man. There's one ring out there. I forgot who has it, but you could take the top off and make it a necklace.
Yeah, yep.
I'm like, come on, man. It's not fun.
Come on. You know there's no expense. He said, JJ says the Braves ring wasn't bad.
Yeah, but that also the top came off as well. It's like this has to stop.
Dude, come on, you know it's coming, man. I foresee Steph Curry, top comes off, and it's Steph Curry actually in the motion of taking a shot from the 3-point line, literally like inside on a court, inside the top of the circle. It's coming, man. Oh man, it's coming. They're gonna have Ayesha Curry in there. You're gonna see her. She's gonna be literally inside the ring, sitting in an actual seat.
Oh man, I was gonna say something, but I ain't gonna say it. Man. It'd be kind of rude.
Steph, don't miss a shot. That's all you gotta know.
Nope. Hey, JJ, if you're still on here, I got a question for you. Are your Dodgers legit? I'll let you answer that in the text, dude. The Dodgers. Not to switch subjects, but the Dodgers won I think it was 11 or 12 games in a row. And it makes me want to puke every time I mention something like this here. But 8 of them are against my own team. It doesn't count. Well, I mean, it technically does. But, JJ, if you're listening, let me know if you think your team's legit. And don't be biased, please. Just be straightforward with us. Let us know if you think the gays in blue are I'm scared we're peaking a little too early. You guys are like you guys are like that freshman in high school getting ready to sleep with the senior in high school. You guys peaked way too early.
You guys are like Al Bundy. Yeah, you peaked in high school, and then you're gonna be a shoe salesman for the rest of your life after that. Hey,
Jesus.
but it got you pegged, so it is what it is. Man, but but getting back to the Lakers thing, so if Russell shows up, short answer, if Russell shows up, then we're probably gonna get our asses handed to us. If Russell is not on the roster, then we're gonna actually have a game worth watching.
Well, we got some time to sit and ponder that there.
Yeah.
We have 4 starters who are still injured. I'm scared we don't have that solid ace we can throw out and not be worried. What's wrong with Julio Urias, Clayton Kershaw? All of a sudden, they're not aces anymore. Um, but I mean, yo, I forgot to mention this. You remember how last week we were talking about DeJounte Murray and how we should tell people to go to the Pro-Am games?
Yeah.
Yo, this dude has been a menace at the Pro-Am games, dude. He's bouncing the ball off of people's heads. He's throwing it at people. Yo,
dude,
man.
Dude woke up this morning like, I choose violence, and he's going out there and just, he's taking your Postman, FedEx man, Amazon. What was it we were talking about last week? Taking them all. He ain't even being respectful no more. He's like, I am the NBA player. You ain't shit, and I'm about to bounce this ball off your face. Tell your mom I'm off at 6. And it's just dunking on everybody.
Bro, there was a video where he pulled the rebound down. This guy's laying on the floor and he grabs the ball, bounces it off his head, and then goes running down the court. Like, you can't tell NBA players to come do this for the kids and then be an absolute menace on the court, man. Like, dude, if he's doing it against guys like you and I who would be playing in a Pro-Am. You know what I'm saying?
It is disrespectful on a whole nother level because you better than them. So you ain't gotta show them up like that. I'm just waiting on somebody to throw hands and really just cause a full scale melee in the middle of the court, because that's what's gonna end up happening. Then we really can't get the kids out to watch it.
Yo, I could not fathom that. He went against his entire word. I mean, he had the drama with the number 1 overall pick. That's a different story. But then you go out there and you're like, you're punking your regular gym rat. You know what I'm saying? You're throwing the ball off the dude's head. It's like, stop, man. You're being disrespectful to these guys because they're going to go to work and be like, hey, man, did you see me on TikTok? DeJounte Murray bounced the ball off my head.
Exactly. Next time, just trip them.
Hell yeah! You want to act like this? I'll end your career for you real quick. Acting like a damn fool. I can get the crossovers, all of that there. That's cool with. But when you start yelling at a normal basketball player,
can somebody please tell him he's gonna go play with the Hawks next year?
Yeah, someone remind him he just got traded to, please.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have some good games. There will be a lot of highlights. I give you that. But you're gonna play for the Hawks next year, my friend. That means you're gonna get to the first round of the playoffs and get a tough reminder from the Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks that you ain't as good as you think that you are.
The Josh Arcegeta says NBA champ. That's what these Pro-Am games are, man. Especially with this whole.
If you can select some random dudes from your local grocery store as a team, you're absolutely right.
But that's what it is, though. These dudes just showed up. He won't play in a Pro-Am,
exactly,
just to get their asses handed to them and play against the pros. But yeah, dude, if never mind. I was gonna make a comment, but it may come off a little gay, and I'm not trying to get a.
I think he needs to go and play against some other, at least D1 types players. I mean, something else other than these Pro-Ams, because I mean, Kyle Kuzma put up 60-something points in a Pro-Am in Utah. I mean, it was in Utah, so that kind of. But anyway. These Pro-Ams aren't what you think they are. Let's be realistic. I mean, come on now, guys. I mean, we out here just cooking up, your boy from like we said, Office Depot, FedEx, wherever, just regular dudes. And I don't think it speaks to the fact it doesn't make you as an NBA player any better, because once you get on the NBA floor, you're back to averaging 10 points, or 6 points, or 5 points a game, whatever the hell it is you average.
Oh, yeah, absolutely here. I don't get why he's even entertaining that thought, but I mean,
it's like beating up your little brother, man. Come on now, stop it.
I mean, that is fun though when you could beat up a younger sibling. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed beating my sister in a
Rachel, you
lot of
hear
things.
this? He's on
I hope she's
YouTube
listening. I hope
saying
she's
how he just
listening.
beating up his sister. Just wrong.
But then after the game, she kicked my ass though. Like she was a little violent one, man. She hit me with a baseball bat. She pushed me to the fireplace. I know we're getting off topic, but I
Damn,
mean,
man, that
I'm
was
just sharing that.
some domestic
But
violence.
I know, right? Call the police. But on
Oh,
a side note, outside of that though, if anyone hasn't seen the Indianapolis Colts had an interesting offensive line this past weekend. Look up offensive Colt French fries. Well, they
yeah,
had
that's
the
yeah.
fucking right side of the line. One name, what dude's
Hey,
last name was French. The last name was Fries. They put them right next to each other, and it said French fries. And I mean,
hey.
my fat ass instantly got hungry, dude. I was like, ooh,
If you, in other words, if you own a Burger King in the Indianapolis area, you need to that. Hey, that game was for you. You need to go and get a commercial up right now. You should be
yo,
on the phone like, hey, can I have this image? Can I trademark this? Can I put this on the front of my Burger King so that I can sell me some French fries?
that marketing was pure for that moment right
Oh
there.
man,
That was an absolute marketing stunt right there if they could ever grab it. But you know, who who knows?
yeah.
But
Well, anything else from the nothing else from the chat. I
nah,
think we hit on most of what we wanted to discuss this week. And I'm looking forward to some more preseason games, some that actually have starters in them, hopefully next week, because I'm tired of watching this Stidham or whatever his name is for the Raiders. He's not looking bad, but it just isn't interesting, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for the regular season, B. I'm ready for it to get
see,
going.
so let me ask you about that. There is preseason even like. Do you think the regular season can start with preseason happening? But because let's be realistic here, it's dragged on for too long, and even with the NFL cutting it down to 3 weeks, it's still like,
Yeah, it's
man,
boring.
I'd rather see the real thing taking place now.
Yeah, outside of the Niners fans with Trey Lance, I don't think anybody
Oh
else is
my god.
interested. And as a Raider fan, I'm ready to see Devontae Adams. Like, what the hell? It's like you got this brand new present for Christmas, and it's just sitting there up under the tree, and it's like, come on, man, let's get him some snaps. I mean, one or two. So I'm looking forward to a couple of snaps next game. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I think at this point it's almost like a 1 game warm up. I think there were a few teams last year that didn't even start their starters until the regular season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's where we're going with it. A 1 game warm up for your starters, and then boom, you're in the regular season. It's just because everybody's afraid that they're gonna get injured. That they're gonna have these terrible ACL injuries that are gonna happen and change the scope of their entire season.
Preseason's a joke. If you bet, I think the first 6 NFL preseason games went over. No, there. That's the only good thing about preseason is NFL is the betting comes back again. That's pretty much the only really good thing that comes out of it. But not to make fun of it. Actually, let's make fun of it. Betting on the NFL preseason is like betting on the WNBA. You have no idea what you're going to be betting on here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Josh chimed
um,
in with interesting. Maybe only one preseason. College football has no preseason. Yeah, no, I agree with the NFL having one preseason game because right now that's what they're doing. They're not playing any other. The only thing that you have to look for when it comes to preseason is guys who are trying to make rosters. That's really what this is about. If you're a backup or if you're a third stringer or if you're a rookie, you do need to have some type of reps in order for a team to look at you and say, hey, let's find a way to get this guy out here onto the field. And or maybe you say, you know what, we'll just do team against team exhibition games in order to fulfill that need. I mean, that could be
I,
the other
but
thing.
but that's what they do already. They have the joint practices
Yeah.
in the middle of
But
in the middle of
there's no
training camp.
attendance though. You got to make the money because the owners want ticket sales. So that's what
Bro,
this is
week
about.
week one generates almost whatever they're gonna make that season.
But they greedy, man. They want them four
I
five
know.
extra hot dogs. They want them that one more beer, that one more Miller Light. They gotta have it.
Tr- Trust me, all the NFL fans out there, we know damn well beer companies love when football comes around.
Oh my
Because
god.
man, do they
It's like
make their sales
$10,
real quickly.
$8, $10 a beer.
I know. So the NFL's got no problem making money. It's just as a season ticket holder, even with the NFL coming back and all that excitement, where they go, oh man, it's just preseason. No one's gonna play. What's the whole point of having people in the stands if I'm going out there and I can't see, say because I'm a Baltimore fan, I can't see Lamar Jackson for a quarter.
Yeah.
I can't.
No,
Not
even.
Your Niner fans went there and busted their nut all over Trey Lance, and then after a few possessions, it was done, and then it was like, you still have to watch. You still have to watch it for the next 2 hours.
Is that what happened? He threw the pass, and they were like, Trey Lance! And that was it.
They were like, Super Bowl bound.
Oh, man.
What did Josh say?
Josh chiming in says that Alabama plays a community college team for the first. Yeah, well, they'd be better They'd be better off playing Madden for their first game.
Yeah, Alabama basically plays. They play Division II, Division III, and they play a JUCO school right after that for their warm-ups, and yet they find their way to be undefeated for some reason. They say they had a tough schedule. Miss me with all of that there. Yeah, really. But hey, man, college football's coming back too. I can't wait to discuss that. I'm really looking forward to it, especially with all the drama that's been circling around with conferences changing and teams going to different conferences now. They're going to be super conferences and stuff like that. So that's going to get cracking pretty soon.
Yeah.
You don't play
playing games on the moon coming soon.
Jesus Christ! Anywhere to make money. I mean, I thought the NFL was bad trying to make money, but the NCAA I think they're a greedier pig than anyone else. They're just terrible, man. They find any way, anyhow to put money on there.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
Well, I think that's gonna call it for us tonight. Unless the chat, you guys got anything else to talk about, or you guys want to chime in? Now's the time.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Thanks, JJ and Josh, for chiming in on the chat, man. So
we really appreciate it. Really appreciate it there. JJ, see you on Saturday, JJ.
What's happening Saturday?
Oh, and my sister's getting married Saturday. She's watching. Can't wait. It's going to be fun, man. She's going.
Congrats.
Congrats. Yeah, man. Her and her sister-in-law, or my sister-in-law, finally tying the knot. So I'm really looking forward to this wedding here, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us, man. So we look forward to next week. We're going to have another great show for you next week on Sunday. And again, if you happen to chime in and you've never seen us before, we appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you're coming back to the show, then we really appreciate you showing up for us every single week. And again, give us a like. And yeah, man. So looking forward to next week. I'll be
wearing a Dodger tie Sunday, man. I hope you spill all sorts of shit on it.
Wu-Tang forever. Josh, Wu-Tang forever. Absolutely, Wu-Tang forever.
Wu-Tang.
That's right.
Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with.
That's right. R.I.P. ODB.
You old dirty bastard.
Big ups to RZA, the Jizza.
As ODB would say, he gives his regards.
Stupid, man. Hey, man. There is nothing like him driving his kids around in a limo in the projects, man. I will never forget that. Collecting food stamps.
Absolutely not. Y'all have a good week as well. JJ, see you Saturday, my brother.
All right, later,
y'all.
We out.